Most people never realize they're running from something until they notice how often they need to escape. It starts quietly, a private moment, a screen, a feeling of relief. And for a while, it works. The mind quiets, the body responds. The world outside fades just long enough to feel like rest. But it wasn't rest, it was regulation. From a neurological standpoint, the brain doesn't distinguish between survival and pleasure when both offer the same result, temporary safety from discomfort. When life feels overwhelming, when emotions feel too large to hold, when loneliness becomes louder than you can bear, the body searches for anything that stops the noise. And pleasure does that, quickly, reliably, without asking questions. So the mind learns. It learns that when the world feels too much, there is a place you can go, a place that requires nothing of you, no performance, no rejection, no waiting, just release. Psychologically, this becomes wired as safety, not connection, not intimacy, safety. And because it worked once, it works again and again, until the pattern is no longer conscious, until reaching for it feels like breathing, automatic, invisible, normal. But underneath, something else is forming. The nervous system begins to associate relief with isolation. It begins to believe that real intimacy is too unpredictable, too vulnerable, too risky, so it chooses the one thing it can control, the one place where no one can disappoint you, leave you, or ask you to be more than you feel capable of being. And for a while, that feels like freedom. But freedom and isolation often wear the same face. Over time, the behavior stops feeling like pleasure and starts feeling like obligation. The release becomes shorter. The emptiness afterward becomes heavier. What once soothed now only numbs, and numbness, while quieter than pain, is not peace, it's absence. This is where the internal conflict begins. You want connection, but connection requires presence. You want intimacy, but intimacy requires vulnerability. You want to be seen, but being seen means someone might notice how tired you are, how afraid, how long you've been holding yourself together in the dark. So you return to what's familiar, to what asks nothing, to what never looks too closely, and the cycle deepens. What people don't talk about is the hidden cost, not the shame, not the secrecy, but the slow erosion of your ability to feel anything without assistance, the way real affection starts to feel uncomfortable, the way your own body begins to feel like a stranger unless it's in that specific state. You become fluent in intensity, but illiterate in tenderness. And loneliness stops being something that happens to you. It becomes something you carry inside you, even when you're not alone. This is not weakness. This is not moral failure. This was the nervous system doing what it was designed to do: survive. It found a way to regulate when nothing else was available. It found a way to feel something when everything else felt like too much or not enough. The behavior was intelligent. The adaptation was real. But adaptation is not the same as healing. Healing doesn't begin with stopping. It begins with understanding why you needed to start. It begins with recognizing that what you've been calling addiction may actually be an exhausted nervous system that never learned it was safe to rest without running first. The brain learns quickly. The body learns slowly. So healing looks like repetition. Small moments where you choose presence over escape, where you let discomfort exist without immediately soothing it, where you practice being with yourself, not as a problem to fix, but as someone learning a language they were never taught. It looks like learning that intimacy is not performance, that connection does not require perfection, that being seen does not mean being judged, And slowly, the nervous system begins to remember there are other ways to feel safe. This will not be fast, and it will not be linear. There will be days where the old pattern feels easier, where the pull feels stronger than your resolve. And that's not failure. That's the body remembering what once kept it alive. But with time, with patience, with the kind of gentleness you've rarely given yourself, the grip loosens, not because you've become stronger, but because you finally allowed yourself to be held. Safety no longer has to be constructed in the dark. It can exist in the stillness, in the breath, in the quiet knowledge that you are not too much and you have never been too broken to deserve tenderness. It is finally safe to exhale.